Hello YouTube, this is Renetta Jones again on the 10th of May, and today is the day that I finished a prototype for a vertical farming system. This is a prototype, so it's not really, and I hope that I can really get how it looks, and I'll just explain the concept and what it's to be used for. The concept of the vertical farm is, again, I was thinking about the poor people in this world and their inability to pay for food because food is very expensive, and they may not have the skills to do traditional farming, but food is a human right, and without food you can't live. So I was thinking, how can we come up with a way to create small scale farming systems for people in developing countries that are poor. They don't have the money to pay for food, and they need to eat because having food is a human right. No one should be poor and hungry. So I came up with the concept of a vertical farm. Now, the concept of a vertical farming did not come from me, but I looked at all the prototypes that they had online, and I saw that those prototypes are very effective, very efficient, and they work well. But the concept, those designs were expensive designs that a poor person in a developing country would not be able to afford. So this again is a prototype. So what I did is I created a prototype of what I think a vertical farming system that would serve people in developing countries and what it would look like. So ideally, this vertical system would be about 6 feet tall. And how it would work would be someone with the resources and the funds can actually take this prototype, and then they would be able to mass produce it and be able to sell it at cost efficient prices. And by cost efficient, I say it shouldn't cost any more than, for this system, it shouldn't cost any more than, I would say, like $20 or even, $15 or something like that. Even that is ridiculously expensive. And how it would work. Now, this is a 5-tiered system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And ideally, it should be 6 feet tall. Okay? And each system is a bowl. Okay? Or a container. 2, 3, 4, 5. And how it would work is you would be able to assemble it. It's a 1, 2, 3 assembly. And what would hold the actual system in place would be some sort of vertical structure. So you would basically screw on the base onto the vertical structure. Then the second one, screw on the second one, attach it to the vertical. The third one, attach, fourth, attach, and then fifth. And this type of vertical farming system, again, I did not design this to compete with industrial scale farming. It's not to compete with industrial scale farming. I designed this system because food is a human right and everyone should have access to food. And I designed it specifically for those who are poor in developing countries. And once you mount the system, it would work by putting soil or straw bale, whatever you use in your vertical farming system, or some would use water, however you'd like to use it, in each of the basins or the bowls, and you would put the seeds in. So ideally, this system would be able to grow 5 different kinds of types of food. You can grow corn, you can grow, well, maybe not corn, but probably tomatoes, maybe corn, but maybe not. Tomatoes, onions, some sort of leafy vegetable, beans, whatever have you. Okay? And I designed it in such a way that one system should be able to grow 5 different kinds of foods. Okay? Let me just give you a preview of what it looks like. So this is from the top. Looks a little bit grainy, the video, but it'll have to do. Let's see if I can change this. No? Can't really change it. Okay, so this is what it'll look like. And basically, a person would be able to grow 5 different kinds of food. So let's say a family, if a poor family can have 3 or 4 of these, okay, then that family would be able to have 15 different, if it's 3, it would be 15 different kinds of produce in order to feed their families. And of course, it'll be basic type produce, but at least they won't be hungry. So again, this is my concept of the vertical farming system. This is a prototype that I designed by hand because I couldn't find anything that would it doesn't have to be this shape either. It can be a circle, it could be whatever the imagination permits. And it would basically work by growing 5 different types of food, or what a poor person could do is, if they don't want to grow food, they can grow flowers and have a vertical garden business where they can grow different kinds of flowers and they could sell those flowers. And how can this benefit someone who's poor? Well, if that poor person doesn't have land and they don't have money, then if they don't have land, they won't be able to grow produce. If they don't have money, they won't be able to buy food. So all it would require is acquiring one of these and seeds, and then being able to grow food for their families. And it's a system that, it doesn't have to be 6 feet tall. It could be 5 feet tall. It could be 4 feet tall. And I would say about 3.5 feet wide. It could be wider, it could be smaller, but it should be tailor-made. It should be made to suit and produce an abundance of food that can feed a family over a period of time. How can this help people who are poor and destitute? Well, it could at least provide for them food in the short term. And if they can grow an abundance of food, they can have some to sell. Or what would be ideal is if, you're looking at a slum, like slums, where people are packed together and there's a lot of people who don't have access to food. But if each family can have 3 of these, they can grow food and they can share, they can barter different kinds of food. So one family can grow, a certain kind of food in one season, and the other family can grow a different kind of food, and there can be at least some kind of community-based farming that does not require traditional farming where you need to have land in order to farm, and thereby allowing the family to at least have basic necessities to sustain themselves and their families. So again, this is not to compete with traditional farming. I regret making it black because you can barely see it, but I think you get the concept. Okay? It can be traditional farming or traditional or non-traditional farming and non-traditional gardening. So if they can produce food or they can buy food, then it can be used for a small business, a small gardening business, where they can grow different kinds of herbs and sell it, or different kinds of flowers and have a small floral business. So again, this is the prototype of my vertical farming system for the poor. Thanks.